At 9-4, it seems that the Detroit Lions are just simply collapsing. And who is to blame? If you ask the SOL fans, it's Jared Goff. And as such, it's time to move on. We're going to talk about it in today's episode, folks, so stay tuned. We used to be a team no one respected. We used to be a team no one feared. That was then. This is now.
First victory of the year on the line. Goff's got it. Back, looks, throws, end zone. Yes! Caught!
You know who we are.
10-5, end zone, touchdown Detroit Lions!
And you know where to find us. We won't be far. We'll be on your front porch waiting for you. We are the New Era Lions. And
we are driven by Detroit.
hello everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving in right now. But before we dive in, I just want to say thank you all for those that are coming back. Thank you all for your view, your support, your patronage. Thank you all for everything you do. It absolutely means the world to me. And to those that are tuning into my show for the very first time, I just want to say thank you all for giving my show a shot. Thank you all for tuning in, and I hope that you guys enjoy the content, and I also hope to gain your subscription if I've earned and I've deserved it. So without further ado, I just want to say thank you all for everything that you do. I also want to say God bless to everyone. I hope you have a great day, and let's dive into the content. So, here's the thing, folks. Lions, they're currently 9-4. They just had a humiliating loss against the Bears. One that I talked about at great length kind of in yesterday's episode. I'll put the link to that episode at the top. And here's the thing. Like I said in that episode, I was angry. I was disappointed. And you know what? There's people right now that are calling for heads. They're calling for the heads of a lot of people. I've heard people call for the head of Aaron Glenn quite a bit, like myself. I've heard people call for the head of Dan Campbell, probably the most extreme ones. But I'll say this right now. Probably the one name I keep hearing called to get fired, cut, released, traded, whatever, get ran the hell out of town is that of Jared Goff. That is the one name I keep hearing everywhere, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on Facebook, hell, even on TikTok I've seen it. So it's like, okay, fine. I've heard everything. I've heard it all. So let's do it. No, let's seriously do it. Let's get rid of Jared Goff. Seriously, let's have that conversation. Let's get rid of him. Let's actually have that conversation. So, let's think about this. Let's get rid of a guy that for the next 2 years, by cutting him, we'll save ourselves a lot of money right now, but at the same time, we're also going to accrue a $45 million cap hit in terms of dead cap for the next 2 years, so that way we can start Hendon Hooker right away. Because after all, what's the thought process? What's the logic? The logic is that, hey, if we get rid of the guy that we don't want right now, we're going to bring in Hendon Hooker so that way he can start right away. He can start making plays. He can start gaining experience, and he can start getting to be that guy that we want him to be. He can start being the future of the franchise. That's the thought process. That's the logic. Because the sooner you get a player in there, the sooner they're going to do well, right? Okay. Makes sense to me. So let's think about this. If we get Hendon Hooker in the lineup and we use those fresh legs, because think about it. What's the biggest gripe with Jared Goff? He's not fleet of foot. He can't manage well in the pocket. He can't move from side to side. He doesn't have really great lateral movement. He doesn't know how to escape a pressure. So, let's put in Hendon Hooker. Let's use his fresh legs. Let's use his rookie energy, so to speak, for those last 4 games, so that way we can get into the playoffs. Let's, in essence, hope that he can pull off a Brock Purdy with the 49ers the previous year before, who went on a freaking tear and won 8 of his final games after filling in for an injured Jimmy Garoppolo. That's in essence what we're wanting. That's in essence what we're thinking about here. So, let's see how that would work. Again, let's get rid of a quarterback in Jared Goff that has brought us 2 back-to-back winning seasons. Because let's think about this. Last year we had a winning season. We went 9-8. This year, we're already 9-4, so we've already matched our win total from last year. We're going to have another winning season this year. That's something that the Lions have not done since 2016, 2017 was the last time we did that. And before that, the last time we did it was in 1999 to 2000. But let's get rid of that man so that way we can bring in that rookie quarterback so that way he can start learning experience. That way he can be ready to play. That way he can somehow lead us into the playoffs. Let's do that. Let's get rid of a quarterback that the whole team, you talk to whoever on that team, Amon-Ra St. Brown, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Aiden Hutchinson, Cameron Sutton, Alex Anzalone, Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson, whoever you want to talk to, they all view Jared Goff, that quarterback, as the unparalleled leader. But let's get rid of him, the unparalleled leader, for a 25-year-old quarterback with no experience in the NFL, who has never had experience leading a team, so that way he can start getting that experience to be that leader. Let's get him in there so that way he can start learning what it is to be a leader, what it means to start being an NFL quarterback, to lead a huddle, to lead a locker room. Let's get him in there so he can gain that experience. Let's get rid of a quarterback that currently is top 10 in yards, top 10 in touchdowns, and has a current, since joining the Lions in 2021, a 69 touchdown to 25 interception ratio in the last 3 seasons, like I've said, for a quarterback who has never thrown a pass in the NFL. Because again, gaining that experience is important. Getting that quarterback in there so that way he knows what it's like to be on the field, so that way he can complete passes, he can gain confidence, he can gain knowledge of that scheme. Let's get a guy in there that has no experience, no stats, nothing on tape, for a guy that has a near 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio in the last 3 years. Let's do that. Let's keep going down this conversation. Let's keep going down this serious conversation. So, let's also get a guy that has not had any experience on the field, throwing a pass, starting a game. Let's get him out there and get rid of a quarterback who has led us to 4 primetime wins out of the last 5 that we've played. Most of those games have been in this year. Let's get rid of a guy that led us to a victory over the Super Bowl defending champions for a guy that has never started an NFL game, never started a primetime game. Because again, we want to make sure that guy gets that experience. We want to make sure that he can lead us into the playoffs so he can be the future. He can be that franchise quarterback. That way he can be our guy in the future. Furthermore, let's get rid of a quarterback that has been to the playoffs 3 times in his NFL career, has been to the Pro Bowl 3 times in his NFL career, has also started and been to a Super Bowl once, for a guy that, like I said, not only has not started a single game in the NFL, but when you go back to his college record, he lost both of his bowl games while he was in college. Because again, we want to make sure that that guy, that 25-year-old quarterback, we want to make sure that Hendon Hooker gets on the field so that way we can start winning. So that way we can consistently get into the playoffs. So that way we have our best chance of winning a Super Bowl. Let's get rid of a quarterback who, right now, at 29 years old, is in his prime, is going to be playing at his top level for easily the next 3 or 4 years. For a guy who's right now at 25 years old, only 3.5 some odd years younger than the current one we have, so that way we can start gaining him experience even though he has not taken a single NFL snap, but we're trying to break that trend because every single quarterback for the last 40, 50 something years that has been drafted that was 25 years or older have all failed. Every single quarterback that was 25 years or older has failed. But if we start Hendon Hooker right now, he'll buck that trend. He will be the one that completely throws all that knowledge, all that trend status, all that trend data completely out of the window because Hendon Hooker is the miracle man. Hendon Hooker is the guy that is going to lead us to Super Bowls. Hendon Hooker is the guy that's going to lead us to playoff victories if we start him right now. Let's get rid of a quarterback that has complete control an understanding of this offense and knows exactly how this offense runs because he built it with the offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, for a guy who ran an offense in college that is not used in the NFL. Because again, we want him to gain experience in how to run a West Coast style offense in the NFL, so a pro style offense, when in college he ran a non-NFL pro style offense known as the spread. We want to get him experience so that way we can speed up that transition from a spread knowledge offense to a West Coast style offense where spread is all about airing the ball as fast and as quickly as possible, whereas a West Coast style offense is based off of timing and rhythm and knowing where everybody is on the field. We want to make sure that that quarterback, Hendon Hooker, is able to get out there and start learning that as quickly as possible, even though he's only been practicing for about 2-something weeks. We want to make sure he gets out there ASAP. Continuing with this conversation, this serious conversation, let's get rid of a quarterback that is currently tied on the active list of all quarterbacks playing right now. So active quarterbacks is tied 8th most with most fourth quarter comebacks, and also has 7 of those fourth quarter comebacks since joining Detroit, and also has 8 game-winning drives since joining Detroit, for a quarterback who, again, has no experience in leading a team to a comeback victory, has no experience for being the leader of a team in the NFL in terms of practice, in terms of a locker room, in terms of anything else. So that way we can, again, get him that experience to understand what it's like to play in those high-pressure games. Because, hey, you're not going to get any better experience than to start in December when these games count, like, seriously. This is like playoff football right now. It's because you got games where you got teams like these ones that we got coming up. The Broncos, the freaking Vikings, they're all vying to get into the playoffs. The Cowboys, they're vying for the number 1 seed. That's playoff football. So let's get that young quarterback, let's get Hendon Hooker in there so that way he knows what it's like to play those tough games. Let's see if he can actually lead us to those fourth quarter comeback victories that Jared Goff has led us to throughout the last, 3 years. Because after all, Hendon Hooker is going to do a better job than what Jared Goff is going to do right off the bat. Let's get rid of a quarterback in Jared Goff who has proven that he can win, but because we don't like his wobbly throws, we will get a guy who we have heard in practice can spin the ball really well, but we've never seen him throw a pass. We've never seen what his passes look like. But yet, the funny part about that is that it doesn't matter how the pass looks so long as it gets there. I've heard plenty of people talk about that one. But because of the aesthetics of how he throws, we want to get him in there because he throws a prettier ball than our current quarterback, even though our current quarterback has got a winning record in the NFL. But again, we want to make sure that we can see that on Sunday because that looks more aesthetically pleasing than what Jared Goff's ball looks like. Then, let's also get rid of a quarterback that is currently, since 2021, since joining the Detroit Lions, he is 6th in most passing yards in the NFL. He's 8th in most passing touchdowns in the NFL, and he is 10th most in passer rating since 2021 in the NFL, since joining the Detroit Lions, for a guy that does not have a single stat in the NFL of any type. Not a single stat. The only thing you can find of Hendon Hooker in the NFL is that he's been on the NFI list and he's been sat out as a scratch for the last 2 weeks on injury reports. That's the only thing you can find about Hendon Hooker. But again, let's get Hendon Hooker into the Lions lineup to start so that way he can start getting those stats, so that way he can start gaining that experience versus a guy who's already been there and done that. And then finally, let's get rid of a quarterback that both Holmes and Campbell have said that they want, they have said is their guy, and have reported by ESPN that they are going to make a strong push in the offseason to re-sign, to extend him for a guy that we have no guarantee will ever do well, just because SOL fans want him to do well, just because SOL fans think they know better than Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. Just because. Y'all see, after all of these points that I've talked about, how ridiculously damn silly this sounds. Think about this. I literally just went down the literal laundry list of every freaking reason I can think of that I've heard, that I've documented as to why we should get rid of Jared Goff. He's a noodle arm quarterback. He can't throw a ball deep. He doesn't throw an aesthetically pleasing football. He can't move well in the pocket. He can't extend plays. He's not very good statistically, this, that, or the other thing. He's a turnover machine. I have proven every single one of those damn theories, thoughts, and arguments wrong. And the worst part about this whole argument is this. The SOL fans that have now come out in droves, they're like cockroaches. When the light is on and everything's going great, they are nowhere to be found because they ain't got a point. They ain't got nothing to stand on. But as soon as the dark comes back, as soon as the light turns out, they start scattering all over the place. They start coming out of the woodwork, and they are just all about, oh, the Lions suck, Jared Goff sucks, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, here. I guess I got to go back to what my mindset was back when I was on DLF, because here's the point of the matter. Let's just summarize this whole thing up into one simple point. We want to get rid of a quarterback who has been to a Super Bowl, been there, done that, has the stats, has the record, has everything going for him, has proven he can win here in Detroit, which, let's understand something here. It is freaking hard as hell to win in Detroit. Think about that. Even Matthew Stafford had a hard time winning here. But yet, in the first 3 seasons that Jared Goff has been here, 2 of those 3 seasons, he's led us to winning records. But yet, let's get rid of him, that guy that's gotten us to 2 straight winning seasons, for a guy that has never once thrown a pass, never once started a game, has only practiced for 2 weeks, barely knows this offense. Let's get rid of a quarterback in Jared Goff who has done everything that any quarterback up to this point would want to do for a guy that has barely done anything. You understand how ridiculously stupid, idiotic, asinine that argument is? We are 9-4, folks. We have still one of the best records that our team has had in a long time. Now, granted, the last time we were at this point, we were in 2016 with a 9-4 record. But again, this team is not the same team as that 2016 team. I've actually got an episode coming out probably tomorrow where I'm going to talk about that. But here's my whole point. We're talking about getting rid of a quarterback that virtually every piece of evidence is pointing to this guy is better than what we're ever going to get, probably in Hendon Hooker, due to the fact of his age, due to the fact he's coming off of a serious injury, and due to the fact that both Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have stated more times than I can care to recollect that he is their guy. Jared Goff is their guy. Dan Campbell has said it. He's our guy. He's built for us. We want him here. He is a Detroit Lion. Brad Holmes has said he is not a bridge quarterback. We want him here. The Lions have made efforts to re-sign him. They are currently in contract talks with him and are going to make a strong push in the offseason to re-sign him. But yet, because of a couple of bad games, because of all the turnovers that are happening right now, of which Dan Campbell, despite the turnovers, has defended Jared Goff, and everybody's going to say, oh, David, that's just coach speak. Why would the coach forcibly, or deliberately throw his quarterback under the bus? I'm sorry, did or did not Sean McVay do that? I'm sorry. Don't tell me that it's not going to happen when it already has happened. There have been plenty of times where coaches will throw their players under the bus because, hey, the player is not doing what I want them to do. Dan Campbell actually said in 2021 that Jared Goff had to step up and had to play better because of the turnover problems. But yet, Dan Campbell has not said that one time. In fact, go back to his press conference yesterday. Dan Campbell actually said, I don't consider the 2 throws that Jared Goff had that were interceptions were turnovers on Goff. The only one he said that he thought was a turnover on Goff was the fumbled snap, and he said that wasn't even totally on Goff. He said there were other people involved on that one. So if Dan Campbell is not willing to say, yeah, my quarterback's the problem, or we have a problem with our quarterback, then what makes you think that you know better than Dan Campbell? What makes you think you know better than Brad Holmes? Again, I go back to the same argument I made back when I was on DLF. You guys all think that they're just giving you coach speak because they're saying one thing and talking out the other side of their face to say another. Do you not know who Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes are? They're probably the most straightforward, most transparent GM and head coach in the entirety of the NFL, and you think they're over here pretty much playing the freaking two-faced person from DC Comics. You think they're playing that game. Oh, we're going to say one thing, but then out the other side of our face, we mean a completely different thing altogether. No, sir. That is, again, a stupid, asinine argument. I won't stand for it. It either is one thing or the other. Either Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell don't like Jared Goff and they're going to move off of him, which all evidence up to this point completely negates that theory, or, as I've been saying, the Lions are going to extend Jared Goff, they're going to bring him back, and they still view him as their leader, regardless of the circumstances that have happened over the last couple of weeks. Because again, as I've said, you take Jared Goff out of our lineup, We lose a lot of games this year that we've won. We lose the Chargers game. We lose the Bucks game. We lose the first Bears game for damn sure. That's my whole point. There are games that because of Jared Goff being in our lineup, we've won. You take him out of that situation, we don't win them. Because that's what Jared Goff provides to this team. He provides leadership, he provides steady production, and on top of that, he's a damn good quarterback. Because I guarantee you this right now. Let's ask all the quarterback needy teams right now if they would want him, whether it's New England Patriots, Carolina Panthers, Atlanta Falcons, or any other team right now that doesn't really have an established quarterback just yet. They would gobble up Jared Goff in an instant because they've seen what the man can do. Because again, how many quarterbacks currently right now that are playing in the NFL have been to a Super Bowl? Maybe 7, maybe 8, maybe 9, and Jared Goff's one of them. So yeah, let's get rid of Jared Goff. Go Lions. Go SOL fans. For all your thought process, that means literally a bucket of warm spit. But anyway, having said all that, I'm now going to end this episode. I had a lot of fun with it. So, having said that, I just want to say thank you all for watching yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, I just want to say thank you all for watching. Thank you all for what you do. I just want to say, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If by chance you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, or you just subscribed and not had a chance to do so, first and foremost, I want to say again, please, please, please subscribe. It definitely helps me out, and I'm thankful for every subscription that I can get my hands on, and I'm thankful for every single one of y'all. But at the same time, once you've subscribed, I also want to ask you all to make sure you please turn on that bell notification icon as well, so that way you never miss any more content that I push out. Again, subscription numbers are always going up, but we want to make sure we turn on that bell notification so that way you guys never miss any more content unless I put it out. So again, let's make sure we get that notification icon turned on. I also encourage y'all, please, to share this content with your Lions friends and family members. Share here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share anywhere and everywhere you can with anybody and everybody that you can. The more people we share it to, the more people come in, the more subscribers we gain, the better conversations we have, and the better talks we have about the Lions and football in general. And with that being said, I just want to say thank you all for your time. Thank you all for your view. I hope you all enjoyed the show. And I also want to just say this. I hope everyone's having a great day. God bless. And until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.